Howdy folks, welcome to Katie Phillips Scrapbook Designs. I'm Katie and this is my little crafty nook. And today we're going to work on adding the pages into this wedding album that I'm assembling for a colleague of mine. We're going to do the inserts for the pocket pages and some of the mats for the gussets, and we'll see how far we get. We might even do some decorating. So the first thing I think we're going to do is glue these pages in, and then we're going to cut to the mats, and I think we're going to do so these pages are 7¼ inches wide. I think I'm gonna do 7½ inch mats, and I think they're gonna be, so the pages are 7¾ inches tall, so I think we're gonna go 7¼ inches tall by 7¾ inches wide. Oh, I almost forgot. The pattern paper that we used for this album is the Wedding Bliss collection by Echo Park. And any of the materials that you can purchase at scrapbook.com or Amazon or wherever will be linked in the description box below, as will all of the previous videos for this album. And measurements, I'll put those in the lower thirds. As with some of the previous videos, I'm going to go ahead and do a voiceover. Here I am smoothing down the glue just to make sure that it gets all the way into the corners and glues that tab down securely, just all the way around. The last thing I want is little corners peeling up. And I started at the back of the book and just worked my way forward. The mats for the page inserts, I ended up cutting them to 1x7. You can make them wider if you wanted to. I wanted to leave plenty of room on the mat to add pictures and stuff, and I needed to conserve pattern paper. And I chose a variety of patterns from what I had left over from the collection. I don't think I repeated any patterns on the inserts. Some of these pocket pages I did end up fighting with a little bit because they had gotten a little bit of glue on them and ended up gluing themselves together, so I had to pry them apart. And I did end up struggling a little bit with the tab that's on the side nearest to the spine. The inserts kept running into it. The mats for the gussets are 3/8 inches wide by 7 3/4 inches tall, and I cut 5 of these. And I chose to go with the neutral side of this pattern paper just because I thought the gold foiling on that darker side would be too much of a distraction. So we've finished all of the pages and we just need to add a little bit of decoration. I've already made some paper flowers with my Spellbinders paper flowers die, which I will link in the description box down below. And I've cut up some of the scraps that I have from just putting the album together. And I'm going to create folios and tags and other decorations. Plus, I also have the sticker sheet left. So we have several stickers on here that we can also use. And I have some Nuvo Drops that I set out to dry overnight and I can just glue them on. I did think originally that this was going to be a separate video, but the assembling of the album ended up being, only 7.5 minutes long. So let's go ahead and do the final touches on the front of the album. And I really enjoy making my own paper flowers. I'll be sure and link to the dies that I use in the description box down below. So I'm starting with the larger flowers and getting them placed where I want them. And then I'll start adding the smaller flowers all around and then finish it off with some leaves and Nuvo Drops. These flowers were created with dies just cut from scraps of pattern paper. I try to focus on using scraps that I wouldn't have been able to use for anything else. And you can see over to the side there, I've got a pile of pieces of 65-pound and 110-pound cardstock that are cut to roughly 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, plus a bunch of 3 1/8 and 4 1/8 or 3 by 4 pieces of pattern paper that I can assemble for inserts and just little places where my colleague, my friend, can add photographs just to increase the number of photographs that this album can hold. In the end, I had a bunch of smaller strips that I ended up gluing onto a piece of 65-pound cardstock, just piecing them all together into kind of a collage of pattern paper and then trimming it down to card fronts. And I've already used one of the card fronts for an anniversary card for my husband. these are little pieces from the die cut sheet. One of the die cut sheets. There's 2 die cut sheets in the mega pack. And I'm just creating little tuck spots here that you can slide anything you want up underneath them. And I'm going to add a tag, and I want to back it with some, I think that's 110 pound cardstock, but I'm going to trim around it. And since I'm off camera, I'm not going to make you guys watch all that, but I'm going to trim around it and add some baker's twine and pop it up on some foam squares. This time I'm going to glue the foam squares to the embellishment piece and then glue that down to the album. This is another, I think this is a piece from the die cut sheet. I'm just gluing along the bottom there because I want that to be open. I'm going to add a photo mat, and I also wanted it to be where you could go either portrait or landscape. And I just finished off the second roll of double-sided tape on this album. For the rest of the video, I'm going to be going through page by page and looking at some of the different die cuts that I've got, leftover pattern papers, and just assembling whatever I can assemble. And at the end, I'm going to assemble a bunch of photo mats and embellishment clusters and place them in that pocket envelope at the back of the album. With all the little folios and photo mats and stuff that I assembled here at the end, I am not even sure how many photographs will fit in this album. It's probably in the triple digits, depending on how many of the photo mats and folios they use for photographs versus journaling. It's a lot. What you really can't see because it's mostly off camera is that I'm using my EK Success powder tool to de-stickify that sticker so that if they want to, they can slide a photograph underneath it. So I'm just going to put some glue along the bottom and stick it down. And I'm not sure what I was thinking here. I was thinking I could add folios on like 3 different sides and do something that looked really, really interesting and still fit it under that belly band, but it's going to end up not fitting. The folios are still perfectly usable. They're just not going to be arranged in whatever way I was thinking I was going to arrange them. I think that's going to do it for decorating this album. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I release new videos twice a week, and the next video up is going to start a new project. So I'm going to go ahead and add all of these little bits and pieces here in the back. I'm probably going to come back and add a decoration, or add some decorations there, so that that's not quite so plain. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.